What everyday skill becomes suspicious if you are too good at it? Remembering things about people makes you look like a stalker. I had the role of trafficker in one of my friend's short films. Apparently, I freaked out one of the actresses because I was too good at it. That's what I'm here to do. Be good at acting. Sneaking. I make a point to stomp when walking into a room I know someone's in because I've frightened so many people accidentally with how silently I naturally walk. Remembering random things, like facts about murderers or information about people. Being nice to people. If someone is way too nice and sweet and I've never ever seen them or mad, I'd be worried if they had some other agenda or if they were a psychopath. I remember number plates. Not an everyday skill. But I went to the store last night and I recognized a plate from 8 years ago. Told my mom and she ended up having a conversation with the lady from the car who turned out to be my old friend's mom. It's also really helpful if you need to help the police out for crime. There was a robbery and I made a mental note of the van's number plate. Bam! They got prosecuted. Becoming a passive observer. Being a silent type has its benefits. But too much and people start their suspicions. Work. Become too good at it. Your boss expects you to do a larger workload. I remember what people say to the letter. I don't know if it's neuroplasticity or how I was raised or what. But I recall what people say with high precision. I don't know your name. Don't know what you were wearing. But I recall what you say. Being able to tell someone a whole paragraph of words they said a month ago, verbatim, freaks them out and I come off as a stalker. Nope. I don't even care about you. I just remember what you said. The lock on my house tends to jam. So my dad taught me how to lockpick it to open the door. Now I get looked at as some sort of house robber. Breaking into cars and being able to hotwire them. Yes. I had a Toyota Corolla back in the day. Yes. I had to break into it frequently and start it without a key. No. I am not a criminal. I just play one on TV. Walking silently. I'm a big guy but got a habit of walking on my toes when I was a kid, which I still sometimes do. Scares the out of people lol. Smelling danger. I smelled a bear in the distance one night when hubby and I were fishing. We cleared out fast. I smelled the bear before I heard it. I also smelled a bear when I was picking blackberries. The blackberry bushes always smell like bear. But I can tell when it's an actual bear or essence of bear. They love the blackberries as much as I do. I smelled melting wires and called the fire department, which prevented a blaze. Fire started as soon as they arrived and got set up. When I was pregnant, I was a cook in a pizza shop. One night during dinner rush, I could swear I smelled a Big Mac and McDonald's fries. Much less life-threatening. I know. But 3 hours later, dinner rush ended and my coworker, that told me I was nuts and couldn't smell McDonald's, went to clean the dining room. There was McDonald's garbage on a table. Big Mac and fries garbage. Opening doors. In this case it was the door to a flat in a small apartment complex. My freshly moved in neighbor from next door asked me if she could use my phone to get in touch with a key service because the door fell shut behind her. I asked her if she already tried to open the door with something. And she didn't know about it since that only works in movies. Because of one of those Reddit threads I remembered watching a 5-minute how to open a door with a plastic card. I knew it does not work with a credit card in movies and told her that I will try to open the door. I went to my workbench. Cut a thick but bendy piece of plastic as seen in the tutorial. And we went to her door. Her neighbor opened the next door and asked what we were doing. I explained it to her. She also told me that this only works in movies. Since her door was open and most definitely the mechanisms were the same. I looked at her lock. Got the height of where I can unlock the locking mechanism? Don't know the exact word for that little nozzle, and went back to the closed door. 10 seconds later the door popped open and they looked at me in disbelief. I explained the story how I knew how to do it and they were like, "Yeah, nah. You are creepy." 8 years later. I opened about 15 doors in that complex and also taught the facility manager how to do it. They got an in-house deal with him, he lives about 5 minutes away and is a really nice old guy. That they could phone him anytime or walk over and ring his bell if that happens again. The deal also requires them to bake some muffins. Cake or whatever he feels like. If this happens again, it's a nice quid pro quo where people help each other out. I always get a fair cut out of the baked goods too. I'm extremely good at reading people. Getting information out of them. And getting them to like me for no good reason. I once befriended my boss's enemy over dinner and came back explaining the intricacies of his personal life and how he felt about his marriage. My boss asked me if I was a sociopath. I'm really good at noticing when someone is manipulating, gaslighting, or lying to me. I feel like a therapist most of the time. Video games. If you go in casual and try hard, you will get accusations. Being able to skin and clean a carcass. Everyone thought I was sweet and cute until they forced me to skin and clean the deer and birds they brought in. When I'd gone through 3 birds in less than a minute each, they looked at me much more worried. They didn't know I knew how and thought I was refusing to skin and clean because I was grossed out. Nope. Just raised to clean what you kill. And after telling them this, they became even more concerned. Yay, farm kids. Good memory has proven itself as being equally useful and suspicious. When you remember a lot about people, you look like a stalker. When you remember a lot about occasions, you look like you're obsessing. Recently, thanks to Zoom and online tests, I learned that in face-to-face tests it's impressive to remember stuff word by word. Online it looks like cheating. If you are really good at role-playing games involving trickery, lying, you need to stop. For your own good. Cease and desist from succeeding in those games and save people's opinions of you for when you actually need to lie. I have a killer manipulation game, which has people thinking that I'm setting them up all the time. Looking at yourself in the mirror. People might think you're vain. Fast reflexes when you don't look particularly athletic, sporty. Like catching falling items midair with surprising, nay, suspicious, speed. Knowing about drugs. It's cool when someone is having serious pain and wants to know how much acetaminophen, Tylenol, they can safely take at one time, but it's not cool when people start asking you, how much of X can I take without overdosing, or, how much of X will get me high? Like, yeah, I know the answer to your question, but I'm not Google or Erowid. Staying focused at work. I'll talk to people while working too, but at one job in a room of 7 I was voted most likely to shoot up the place because I didn't get up for coffee breaks, etc. Doing mental math quickly in increments of 3.5. 7 or 16. Grams. Ounces. Pounds. Hallmark increments of botanists and powder sellers. Picking locks. I used to lock myself out of my house a lot. I can open a simple locked door in seconds. I've received some strange looks from friends when I've used this skill in front of them. Especially when they ask me to unlock their door. I'm not a thief. I acquired this skill because I'm a dork that has been locking herself out of the house since she was a teenager. Okay. So here, this doesn't seem too weird. But I've had friends say that when I'm texting or using chat in other games, my grammar creeps them out. Like the fact I don't say you too and just say you too. Commas and all. No special reason. I've just always done it this way. And I type fast, so I tend to shoot out multiple lines of text really fast. This creeps people in some games out actually. And I've been accused of just copy-pasting things into the text box because they thought I was some kind of robot. Playing with your voice. I love to change my voice up slightly for different things. Generally, I found that adding a tad more bass works wonders. Do it too well, and people get twitchy. Grandpa always locks doors with keys inside. I became a pro at opening doors with hairpins and cards. One time at a sleepover we lost the key. I opened the door in 5 secs. He was shocked. I'm really good at jumping out of the way of falling objects. People think it's weird that I let harmless objects hit the ground. But try being a blacksmith and catching a falling piece of red-hot steel with your hands. Making excuses. Sincerity wears off, don't you know? You can tell if an Asian girl in Asia is a prostitute or not by how good she is at pool. I play to a good level and I can tell by their technique of they've spent many a night hustling guys out of drinks in bars. I am really aware and observing of things people do while talking. Tells me whether they are lying or not. Or how they feel. If they are genuine. There are so many minor details like position and movement of feet. Eyebrows. Veins. Heart rate, if you can hear it. I know a lot more than people think I do. If I told anyone what I observed, they'd think I'm creepy. I get called a flirt when I'm just nice to people. Not really suspicious. But kind of annoying to have assumed about you. I wouldn't call it an everyday skill. But getting into locked cars with a coat hanger. I work in maintenance and people lock their keys in the cars fairly often, and since I am usually the one who gets the call, I am the one who does it, and I have gotten pretty good at it. Depending on the car, it only takes a couple minutes now.